So I know your dad and your uncle from. I'm aging myself here, but the first track I ever went to was Westboro, and because my uncle was the flagger there, and then as I got older and I got back into it, your dad and your uncle and like Jerry Marquis, then I would go to Riverside Park, and so all those guys that were racing modifieds in that era when I got back into it were now on the tour kicking ass, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember those guys, and obviously they raced.
Her dad was a showman.
Yeah, your Uncle Jeff was a pretty entertaining character as well.
Oh, he was.
Yeah, I remember because I was a kid when her dad was kind of tailing off his mod tour career, but he was a fan favorite all the time. Everybody loved. It's Rick, right?
Yeah, well, people either loved him or hated him.
Yeah, I mean, I think fans loved him. I mean, Ben Dodge loved him. I mean,
Yeah.
the Whelen Tour loved the Fuller family. I mean, you're coming from a.
I think of it more like she says it. They were kind of love him or hate him guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, it was like, oh, that's Rick Fuller. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that's how me and Sean were because we were like kids running around Thompson.
Yeah.
And we don't know. That's like the Fuller family to us is a massive name in open wheel racing and modified racing. So,
Fun fact, the first SK modified champ at the Speedbowl was her dad.
That was your dad. I used to root for
85.
him. Well,
1985.
yeah, I used to root for him all the time.
The Teddy
And-
Marsh car.
Yeah, and that was a beautiful car. What number was it? 55?
55, yep.
Yeah, I remember that. That was like one of my first years.
Yeah, right.
I think
Yeah.
86 when we went, 85 or 86. And
Basically,
that
kick
came
ass,
down to the
take names and
I think that
took off.
didn't that come down to the wire, that championship?
I don't think so.
No, it didn't?
I don't
Because
think so.
I couldn't remember. But yeah, that's when I first heard the name Fuller. Rick Fuller was the
Yeah.
Speedball. And then as we got older, so.
So you said what'd you say you were, 22?
Yeah.
So did you ever see your dad race? He was done racing.
He was racing the pro stock for the Johnsons. Mainly when I remember him racing
Yeah.
up at Thompson.
Did you ever see him win?
Yeah, I have his last ever win trophy sitting in my room.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
Nice.
I got a question.
Yeah, go.
Do you ever feel any pressure because the family was like made it so high in modified racing and stuff? Does that ever enter into your mind like, damn, I hope to get there one day, or that doesn't matter?
I mean, yeah, I feel like I got a lot of eyes on me. Like, the amount of people that come up to me and they're always like, oh, like, I always watched your family. I love watching you. And
Yeah.
I know, like, when I first started, we struggled with the handling of the car. We just had something that we couldn't figure it out. And
You talking about SK lights?
yeah, when we
Okay.
first started in SK Lights, we had something with the car. We just couldn't figure it out. And it was hard because it was like people are looking at me and they're like, damn, maybe she's not made out for like open wheel cars, but it was just like it wasn't even us. And then the next year we got a different car and we started to do better. And then last year we finally got a win at both tracks, so that definitely helped.
Oh, yeah. No, because I know the pressure must amount at times, right? Because when things aren't going well, ultimately the finger gets pointed at you, whether the car is good or bad.
So let's go back to your dad here for a little bit. What's he like as car owner, crew chief? How intense is your dad at the racetrack?
I mean, at Thompson, he spots for me. So,
How's that go?
I think I get a little more fired up than him, and it's more him that's like, don't do it. Don't do it. And, like, I'll say something, he's like, you can't say that. And I'm like, I just did. But, I mean, like, he'll get mad about situations, but, I mean, him and I both know. I mean, he knows best. Like, I'm responsible for something he does. I'm responsible for something that my team does. So he tries to not get fired up in public.
Yeah.
But he might be very mad about a situation and inside the trailer talking to me or talking to the crew.
Yeah.
How about your relationship? And because he was a successful driver and trying to teach you the ways of the modifieds, does he go like, Meg, stop doing this. I tell you to do it this way. You know what I mean? Like, because I do that with Emma, and I don't know if that happens with you guys also.
I mean, like, he'll tell me how to drive, but it's more of like, I get out of the car, like, after practice, after the heat race, and after the feature, and I talked to him. I'm like, okay, here's where the car was, entry, middle, exit. And he's like, but it looked like this. And I'm like, no, like I felt X, Y, and Z. And so we'll talk about it. We'll talk about like what adjustments we think we should make. And then him and I both go and we talk to Keith. So it's more of like a little trio more than anything.
So when it comes to the family tree, excuse me. Let me see if I get this right. Your parents are divorced, correct?
Never married.
Never married. Okay. And your dad now is married to Jim McCollum's daughter?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yep.
You guys know who Jim McCollum is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you guys don't, right?
He's not around anymore though.
He's passed away, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, pro stock badass.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah. One race at the Speedbowl actually was kind of one of the things when I did the history I thought was kind of cool. I was like, oh, they had a pro stock race there? Yeah. Yeah, that's a famous name. So you're just a freaking ridiculously famous family.
Unfortunately. I got a lot of things to back me, so
Yeah.
I mean, like going back to before, I mean, I got a long family history, and I don't know. I try not to let any of that like pressure me because I want to be my own person.
Yeah.
But I think I'm also the only female in any of it, so
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Do you think your dad puts a lot of pressure on you, or do you think you put more pressure on yourself?
I don't think my dad puts any pressure on
He
me.
doesn't?
I mean, obviously, like, yeah, he wants me to do good, but I don't think he really puts any pressure on me.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, like him and I, like every single week, we have a GoPro in the car. We don't
Yeah.
really share much of the GoPro because it's more for me to learn.
Yeah.
But every week I go to the car wash, him and I watch it, assess it, see where I can be better. And I mean, he'll point out where I do something wrong, but it's never like putting pressure on me of like,
Yeah, just learning from your mistakes, right?
yeah.
Yeah, totally get it. Listen, we do that with podcasts.
Yeah.
We just
You did it before you got here.
Yeah. We're always going over stuff.
Let
right?
the guests know beforehand. Don't swear.
Don't swear on the mic.